welcome into an HQ Spotlight on your Monday. Amanda Guerra, Trisha Whitaker, joining us today from Indiana.
Yes.
Which, please tell me the weather's better than it is up there in South Florida.
Oh, it's so much better. It's not nearly as humid in Indiana
It's
as it is in Florida.
disgusting here right now.
When you walk outside in Florida.
Absolutely. 45 days, by the way, until the NFL season begins. We're going to give you a preview of the NFC East, which has not had a repeat champion now since 2021.
Wild. That's insane to think about.
I feel like I said that wrong. I feel like it's longer than that. Yeah, 20 years, sorry, 20 consecutive seasons. That's what it is.
There we go, 20 consecutive seasons. That sounds a little bit more correct right there. Teams begin reporting for training camp starting this week, and we are getting you up to speed on all 32 teams, starting with the NFC East. So let's see who are some of the players to watch for the East. Right now, we are welcoming in our NFL analysts. Leger Douzable and Mike Renner. Guys, welcome into the show. Let's start with the reigning Super Bowl champs in the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a team with not a ton of holes for them to fill, but let's focus on a cornerback specifically. Cooper DeJean, what are their plans for his role this season, and what should we be watching for?
Yeah, to me, he's my player to watch because there's been talks about him potentially changing positions and going to safety, but still also playing some slot corner as well, i.e. kind of what Kyle Hamilton does for the Baltimore Ravens. So Vic Fangio, real interested to see throughout the season how he uses that skill set. Coming out in the draft, Mike can speak to this. When you talked about Cooper DeJean, nobody kind of knew where he was going to play. Was he going to play outside corner? Was he going to play in the slot? Was he going to play at the safety position? One thing I do know, Mike, though, is when they inserted him in the starting lineup, because he was banged up in the beginning of the year, he missed the first 4 games. But after that bye week in week 5, that's when this defense truly took off. It was like he was the piece they were missing in the middle of that defense. His ability to be physical in the run game, but also to take out any slot receiver because of his lateral quickness. And we saw that come to fruition in the Super Bowl when he had a pick 6 on his birthday. So I'm excited to see what Vic Fangio does with his skill set. He's a dynamic guy that can also help you in the punt return game, but I can't wait to see how they use his skill set on defense, moving him all around that defense for Vic Fangio.
Yeah, while we don't know where he's going to play, I do know one thing. Cooper DeJean, wherever they play him, he's going to ball out. He was so good as a rookie. So I'm not looking forward necessarily to watching him because I know what I'm going to get. Who I'm looking forward to watching is Kenyon Green, the guy they traded for from the Houston Texans this offseason, the guard. He was a first-round pick, a top 20 pick at guard. If you spend a top 20 pick at guard, usually that guy's a slam dunk. Well, for 3 years, he was anything but that for the Houston Texans. They trade him to Philly. I'm excited to see him because 2 reasons. One, that right guard position is a massive hole with Mekhi Becton leaving. We don't know who's going to start at that position. You go back to 2023 after they lost Isaac Seumalo, it was a big issue for them and kind of derailed a lot of that offense that they had that season. And the other big reason, Kenyon Green's still very young. He's only 24 years old. He's actually younger than Green Bay Packers' second-round pick this year, Anthony Belton. So he still has some developmental potential in him. He's a people mover. If Jeff Stoutland, one of the best offensive line coaches in the NFL, can get his hands on him, develop him into what a lot of people thought he could be, this Eagles offensive line may not miss a beat.
All right, I got to give you guys credit because I airmailed that start. We were supposed to start with the Cowboys, but you guys rolled with the punches completely. So let's transition back to the Cowboys. They finished last year with a disappointing 7-10 record, missing the playoffs. The player to watch at training camp, wide receiver George Pickens. Is he in line for a breakout season, do we think?
I think so. Breakout season, the guy's already broken out, right? For the Pittsburgh Steelers, he was a true number 1, and I honestly think he gets underrated in how good he is. There are only 9 wide receivers in the NFL that in each of the past 2 seasons have averaged more than 2 yards per route run. George Pickens is one of them. CeeDee Lamb is one of them. The Cowboys are the only team in the NFL with 2 of those guys. So it's a 1A, 1B situation, in my opinion. It's just how is he going to fit? Because he's really been an X for the entirety of his career with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He runs that vertical tree on the outside. He doesn't move around a lot. But I think he's more than capable of doing so in the same way CeeDee Lamb is. So you got 2 guys who, if you want to move them around, basically, if you want to pay attention to one, the other guy's going to beat you. There's not a lot of teams in the NFL that can say that, and usually the ones that can, those are the elite offenses. So the Cowboys desperately needed a secondary fiddle. I think they got in George Pickens, but which George Pickens is going to show up?
Yeah, I believe he'll show up anytime it's contract year. You know, players usually show up. And to your point, with CeeDee Lamb, you can move him around. So George Pickens will be on the outside and be able to go get those vertical passes. But there's two guys I want to watch. I kind of cheated on this, Mike. I went with two guys. Suvon Revel, their third-round pick, who, if not for the ACL injury, most likely would have went in the first round. And I bring his name up because Trayvon Diggs is coming off a knee injury as well. And there's a good chance that he's not going to be ready for training camp. So when you look at the subsequent depth at corner, it's lackluster because if Trayvon Diggs and Suvon Revel aren't ready, it gets light on that depth chart. When you talk about a guy like Kyer Elam, who they traded for from the Buffalo Bills, a former first-round pick, C.J. Goodwin on the outside, Kalen Carson. DeRon Bland is really the only guy with extensive experience. So I'm looking at Suvon Revel because if he's healthy enough to start, it could give this Cowboys secondary a lift if Trayvon Diggs isn't able to start the season. And the other guy was a first-round pick last year, Tyler Guyton. The Cowboys have been one of the better teams, Mike, at developing talent on the offensive line. Tyler Guyton made the transition from right tackle to left tackle. He played only right tackle in college. He made the transition to left tackle and struggled. And you would expect that for a guy making the transition as a rookie to be protecting the blind side of Dak Prescott. But again, I'm going to believe in the development of the Cowboys because just look at the history. Tyler Smith, a guy that a lot of people kind of scoffed at when they draft picked him, has been a perennial Pro Bowler. Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, like they've been able to develop offensive line. So if Tyler Guyton can develop and have a second-year rise, when the Cowboys have been good, Mike, it's been based off that offensive line, and he has one of the most important jobs in protecting Dak Prescott's blind side. So Tyler Guyton is a guy I'm definitely locked into this year. He's got to take a second-year jump.
We love to hear that. All right, let's transition to the Washington Commanders, a team that was just one win away from the Super Bowl last season. We want to focus on Deebo Samuel. What are their plans for him and his role and how he fits into that offense?
I mean, if you get prime Deebo Samuel, I'm talking 2021 Deebo Samuel, when he went for 1,400 yards, he had 365 rushing yards. He is what this offense needs, the guy that can take a screen and go 50, 60 yards with it. They just didn't have that guy. They had Terry McLaurin last year, who's this great vertical threat, downfield threat, but he's not necessarily that kind of weapon in the way Deebo Samuel could be. But the thing is, we haven't seen that guy because since 2021, he's had a hamstring, an MCL, an ankle sprain, a scapula fracture, a hamstring again, a calf, a rib strain, and then last year, guy was like 230-plus pounds. He looked like a running back or even a fullback out there at times. It's which Deebo Samuel are we going to get? Because you said earlier, Leger, contract year George Pickens, you expect the best. This is contract year Deebo Samuel. He's only 29 years old. He realistically has at least one more big contract in him if he shows up, looks his best this upcoming season. I mean, we just saw Devontae Adams at 33 years old get $22 million a year. So it's within the realm of possibility, but we just need to see a different guy than we saw a year ago. Will we? Well, that's why I'm looking forward to seeing him.
Yeah, Mike, I'm going to go on the other side of the ball. Corner Trey Amos, who they took in the second round, and talking to their GM, Adam Peters, when they drafted him, I was like, that's a first-round talent you got in the second round. He said, dudes, I couldn't agree more. Why he's so important, Mike, is because their second-round pick last year, Mike Sanders, his natural position is at the slot corner position. But because they struggled so mightily on the outside, he was forced to stay on the outside. So if Trey Amos can develop, and from what I've heard throughout OTAs and minicamp, he has been clamping receivers up. He was one of those corners that I thought, as far as understanding route concepts, is one of the better corners in the draft. If he can come in and solidify himself as a starter, let's not forget they also signed Jonathan Jones and Marshawn Lattimore as well. They traded for him. They'll finally have the subsequent depth to slide Mikey Sanders in the slot position to really take this defense to the next level. We saw Jaden Daniels in the course of games have to outscore the opponent offense. A lot of it had to do was lackluster play at the cornerback position. Well, if Trey Amos can step up, that allows you to put one of your better players at his natural position, you can see this become one of the better corner secondaries in all of football.
All right, Leger, I want to talk about the Giants, that fan base praying for a better fate this season. They ended 2024 tied for the worst record, but their first-round quarterback pick, Jackson Dart, what can we expect from him in camp and their plans for him in the future with the Giants?
Yeah, I'm really excited to see Jackson Dart throughout training camp and preseason because Mike can speak to this as well as we went through and went through the process of the draft, looking at Jackson Dart's tape. A lot of half-field reads, a lot of scheming guys open, right? So the offense at times was easy for him. Well, now he's going into the NFL where he's going to have to do full field progressions, right? Be able to process, get the ball out. And what I heard at minicamp is that he looked really good towards the back end of minicamp. So I'm looking forward to him to take that momentum into training camp. Right now, Russell Wilson seems to be entrenched as the starter. But Mike, we've seen it before in the past. One of these young quarterbacks developed really well throughout preseason and throughout also training camp. Who says that Brian Daboll doesn't maybe start him a little bit sooner than most people think? So to me, the excitement of drafting Jackson Dart is one thing, but it's his development and processing throughout training camp and also preseason, which is what I'm going to watch to see when he ultimately gets into the starting lineup, because the Giants have a brutal schedule to start this season, and their owner already came out and said he better be in a better mood at the end of the season than he was last year. Could Jackson Dart start sooner than later? That's what I'm watching for throughout training camp.
See, I'm obviously going to be locked into Jackson Dart, but I just don't foresee him getting that starting job, given what we saw from Ole Miss in that simplistic offense, and then given the fact that just like they need to save their jobs in New York. They need to win right now. They can't just hang their hopes on a rookie quarterback looking good. They need to win games, and I think the guy that I'm very excited about giving them the potential to win games is running back Tyrone Tracy, because if you watch this guy's just highlight reel, watch his best runs, you would swear this is a top 10 running back in the NFL. From a physical perspective, it truly is all there to be elite at the position. But he's only been playing running back for 2 seasons. He switched his 6th year at Purdue from wide receiver to running back, got drafted in the 5th round based off of the tape he put, and then became their lead back down the stretch last season. Averaged 4.4 yards per carry, 839 rushing yards, but you still see some hesitation, some issues with his vision, some issues with fumbles. He had 4 last year, where if he can clean those up and really get the nuance of the running back position down pat, this could be an offense that runs through its running back. It could run on the ground. The offensive line is now good enough, in my opinion, to really have a high-end running game if they have that dude back there. And I think Tyrone Tracy could be. But will he have made the progression from, obviously, year 1 to year 2 to year 3 at running back? We'll see. That's what I'm looking forward to at training camp.
Absolutely. We will see. Guys, thank you.